Excuse me.
What must we do to attain victory over such a fierce opponent? I speak of your next goal. I wish to be of as much use to you as I can, seeing as we're partners in destiny. Strength alone will be insufficient. We must be clever as well. Never in a million years did I think Gerald's mercenaries would become our allies. When you said you wanted them on our side, I thought you might have taken a hard hit on the head or something. But you actually pulled it off. You really can do anything. I do my best. Since joining the Kingdom Army, I've been to a myriad of places and seen all variety of landscapes. But Aillel is truly extraordinary. I don't think there's anything else like it in all of Fodlan. Have you heard the story of how it came to be? That this is all the work of the goddess? It's just a folktale, but think how terrifying it would be if it were true.
Aww.
If the goddess saw our current state of affairs and got angry again, then we would all be in grave danger. Yeah, probably. Fun times at those. What do you have to say?
Did you know?
I was recently reunited with Hilda after a terribly long time apart. She had been very worried about me. She's always spoken so kindly to me, even at the Officers' Academy. I had thought it best to keep others at arm's length, and never even so much as said thank you to them. But when we were separated, I found myself missing Hilda dearly. I guess what I'm saying is, it's nice to have a friend. She makes me feel stronger and more courageous. Alrighty. Sounds about right. Who's over here? Sylvain.
Oh yeah.
His Majesty and Felix have really risen to the occasion. 10 years ago, they were squabbling over who broke whose sword. Now look at them. One's a king and the other's a duke. They're fighting at each other's side, issuing orders to other lords. I won't lie, it's still hard to believe. Maybe it's time I got my act together too. I don't know, maybe, Sylvain. That might be important. We shall see. It's only a matter of time before the enemy gets wind of what we're after. In fact, they might have already.
Well,
We'd be wise to consider the possibility of a massive battle in the Valley of Torment. You're right. We should be catching the enemy off guard, but they might have enough time to deploy a small elite force. That probably depends on Count Hevering, since he's defending the West, and how quickly the Emperor will react. The sooner she does, the more likely they'll send a larger army.
Right.
That being said, we're also deploying a smaller raiding party of our most elite in anticipation of that. Not to mention we'll be doing battle in Aillel, where larger numbers aren't particularly an advantage. I don't think it'll be impossible to win. But why fight us in Aillel, though, when it should be easier to fight us at Garreg Mach when they've got the fortifications on their side? Then again, the Knights of Seros, but they were a pivotal role in, well, they'd be a pivotal role in Aillel as well. Oh my, we may finally be able to return to Garreg Mach. The monastery serves as a symbol of the Holy Church of Seros. In the name of the goddess, we must stop at nothing to reclaim it.
Well.
Furthermore, if we do return, we shall no longer have to burden the kingdom so. We'll see how it goes then. It's been so long, Father. How have you been faring in the Alliance? Just fine, Annette. I am relieved to see no harm has come to you. Yeah, the others do a good job looking out for me. Are you going to be joining us in the fight for Garreg Mach? I would like to, but I have been charged with managing our reserve troops. Once I have finished here, I am to return to the capital to gather Duke Ifan and Margrave Gautier.
No way.
Working yourself to the bone as usual. Not that I want you fighting on the front lines. But isn't running around doing all those errands exhausting? Indeed it is, but you must forgive me. These duties bear great importance as well. Yeah, I don't think there's anything you could do to stop Gustav from acting on that front. I don't think there's anything you could do. Where we are now isn't unbearable, but I'm sure it will get hotter once we enter the valley.
That isn't good.
Many people from Fargus don't do well in the heat, so I can't help but be concerned for them. There's gotta be a way to stay cool, even in the valley. Maybe we can ask someone who knows ice magic? Oh yes, that might work. We could consult with the scholars. We won't be any condition to fight if we're all exhausted when we reach the monastery. I wonder how the battles are gonna play out then. Oh yeah, the Getz imposter. Oh boy. Is it an imposter? Is it those who slither in the dark puppeting him? A long-lost brother? Who knows?
Got a minute?
The previous leader of the Alliance looked gentle as a kitten, but was a tough-as-nails old man who kept his cards close to his chest. What do you think of the new guy, Claude? I've been doing some digging into him. Not sure yet. I've only talked with him a little, but he came off a bit conniving.
I don't know.
I guess that means he can use his head, which is good for a leader. Unless he's the kind of guy who'd jerk you around. That'd be a problem. Well, it's gonna be a problem no matter what. Hello, Anna. We're finally on our way to Garreg Mach. Heh, even I'm all fired up. That place is special to me. Do everything you can to get it back, okay? Oh, and I'm all stocked up on what you need to get the job done. You've got this.
Welcome.
I'm sure you do. Let's go ahead and grab what I know I'll need to grab from you.
Nothing but the best for you.
Anything else I need to worry about? Oh yeah.
Nothing but the best for you.
Give me a second to get through all this and then we'll move on.
For you.
Greetings, friend. Nothing to report.
Greetings, Commander. Nothing to report. Now that we've got the Alliance and Church on our side, I'm starting to think we can win this thing. You have a real humdinger of a battle coming, so I'll be cheering you on from here. Yeah, did I say that right? Cheering? What did I say? Cheering? What did I do? Oh well. Either way, we carry on.
That's concerning.
It sure feels strange fraternizing with our arch enemies. But bridging the gap is all part of the fun. I suppose you didn't get the pun. You see, it's a play on arch enemies and... Oh, stop it. What do you... Why? I had our formations adjusted so that I could avoid the knights. Well, Lady Rhea specifically. But I didn't expect that she'd come to this camp herself. I doubt the Kingdom Army expected it either.
I hate to ask.
I don't mind if you talk to Lady Rhea, but just keep us out of it. And especially don't mention Byleth. The two of them have a bit of a complicated history. Yeah, that's putting it mildly.
Got a minute?
Are we sure Her Grace the Archbishop should be commanding the front lines? It could get real hairy out there. Can she even fight? Though I did hear she took command during the battle when the monastery fell. At any rate, we can't let anything happen to her. Gotta stay sharp out there. Yeah, I'm gonna have basically no time to prepare as well.
Hey,
They say that long ago, this area wasn't a valley, but a lush, vast forest. But when the goddess saw how thoroughly corrupt humans had become, she flew into a rage. She unleashed divine judgment from the heavens, reducing the entire region of Aillel to ash. Well, that's what we're told in theory. Do you think the flames are still burning under the ground after all this time? It's more than that, but we won't go there.
Supplies are the lifeblood of any army.
There's always something, isn't there?
Everything has its use.
Guess we'll see how it plays out.
Well,
The Shreng army would have invaded by now if we didn't have the Margrave keeping watch. After one particularly fierce conflict long ago, it was agreed that Shreng and its people would be subject to Fargus' will. However, they still attack in hopes of claiming our fertile lands.
incidentally,
On the other hand, Dusker and Fargus had a tumultuous relationship decades ago, and yet you can count the number of conflicts between them on one hand. That could be due to Dusker's lands being more fertile than the ones in Fargus. I wonder how that ended up being the case.
hey there.
Let's
Need
see,
something?
nothing I need to worry about there. I
See
should
you
be fine
around.
as far as weaponry is concerned if I was able to get through the last battle just fine.
You there.
If this plan works and we retake Garreg Mach, then the war will be over, as long as the Empire isn't run by fools, that is.
you sure?
You think so? We might drive the Empire back, but who knows how long the Alliance will play nice. Ah, the Alliance. That possibility hadn't crossed my mind. You're sharper than you look. I'll take that as a compliment, I guess. Well, we've stayed a good while, but it's finally time to say goodbye to the Kingdom Army base camp. Once the battle at Garreg Mach is over, we'll be joining up with the Alliance.
Hear me out.
I promised the gang here that we'd throw back a few drinks and celebrate once Garreg Mach is reclaimed. Well, I guess that's one way to ensure that the Kingdom and Alliance won't be at each other's throat. The Valley of Torment. The name alone sends chills down my spine. And even if I survive, my father's going to be waiting at Garreg Mach on the other side. Now I'm doubly terrified. You all go on ahead. I'm just gonna burrow under a blanket forever.
What do you think?
Alright, you can hold things down here. Should I let Dimitri know, or do you want to do it yourself?
Don't worry.
Oh, what I meant was, I'll give it my best. That's one way to convince her to move. Actually, when was the last time I looked here?
Comes at a high price.
I think, yeah, most of the main characters have been seen too, apart from, yeah, A few scattered characters here and there, but I'm primarily using the main characters anyway.
Don't neglect your daily
Oh yeah, I'll
study.
have to see to Byleth and Geralt as well. Basically being given no time to actually improve them before we go to Aillel then. Oh man. I wonder if Between Heaven and Earth will play there as well. What are these people thinking approaching Garreg Mach through that insufferable valley? It is unbearably hot, the paths are precarious, and danger lurks around every corner. Ugh, what misery. Everybody wants to be my— wait, wrong script. It's so depressing, in fact, that I want to go back to bed.
Greetings.
Now that the Alliance forces have joined us, we should be returning to Claude's command. However, we will continue to work with you all until we have reclaimed the monastery. Glad to hear it. I was worried you all would cut out of here as soon as you could. We've fought so many battles together at this point, it's like you belong here anyway. The orders come from Claude, but it was never our intention to leave partway through. We are proof of the friendship between the Kingdom and the Alliance, so to speak. We appreciate your continued cooperation. Alrighty then, at least that's going well. What are you two discussing? At long last, it seems we will be able to return to Garreg Mach. The monastery is like home to me. It is the only place I can imagine going back to. I vow to do my very best, so I hope you all will lend me your strength. Once we are safely behind Garreg Mach's walls again, I hope we can reopen the Officers' Academy as well. We'll see how it plays out.
A moment.
I know the terrain from Garreg Mach to Aillel well. I shall act as our guide. Of course, the Archbishop will be leading us in battle, and is prepared to employ the full might of the Knights of Seiros. If we squander this opportunity, so too goes our chance to retake Garreg Mach. We must succeed at all costs. The goddess's protection is on our side. Let us fight together to claim victory. Lucky us. It'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
Oh, it's you.
Alright, this is it. We're finally storming Garreg Mach. My blood's boiling. And I gotta say, if we're gonna attack him anyway, there's no need to sweat our backsides off sneaking through Aillel. We should just kick down the doors and start knocking Imperial skulls. Yeah, that would not necessarily work. There's a lot of them. Oh hey, Cyril.
Hey,
A lot of people in the church are wound up about that power of yours. Some of them even suspect you're in league with Tomas. But I don't think that's true. We can trust you, right?
Right on.
Of course. I'm not good at putting one over on people anyway. Gotcha. You know, I was told to keep you away from Lady Rhea. But she seems to trust you, so I'm not gonna worry about it. Wait, should I read that right? I was told to keep you away from Lady Rhea. Oh, okay. Yeah, I read it wrong. Yep, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Who told you though, Sedith?
Say.
So tell me, are you one of the people worried about Lady Rhea's ability to command on the front lines? Nah, not really. She used to deploy the Knights to settle conflicts, didn't she? And to good effect from what I've heard. It's not hard to imagine she would make a great commander. That's right. She's got more experience leading armies than most of our generals combined. I wanted to fight by her side, but Lady Rhea insisted I aid the Kingdom Army. Lucky us. I guess they gotta keep you around somehow. Oh hey, Rhea!
So it is.
I have heard tell of your exploits. You have been working rather hard, it seems. Though it may not have been for the Church, you saved our lives nonetheless. As the Archbishop of the Church of Seiros, allow me to express my sincere gratitude.
You sure?
Oh, it was nothing. No need to thank me personally or anything. You have earned the goddess's favor regardless of your beliefs. The Empire, on the other hand, must face severe punishment for inciting such a foolish conflict. I ask that you continue to wield your magnificent power with righteousness.
I entrust this
For
to you.
Fodlan and all who reside here, I am counting on you. Lucky us. See how it goes. Finally returned to your old self? Now my name shall be known through all of Fargus as well. Did you say as well? So you're already known in other places? Well, that is certainly my intention, and I will thank you not to split hairs. I swear, one day I shall restore a house to— Yeah, go on. What, does that mean you can stand in the daylight now? What, is it something that you can, quote, get over? Guess we'll find out. I don't think... Actually, there's no way I would have had this, right? Dear Father and Mother, it's been 4 months since my last letter. The days show no sign of warming, but I hope you are keeping well. The instructors here are really putting us through our paces, and His Highness is a demanding training partner to say the least. Still, I'm managing to enjoy myself. I'm writing to let you know that I've been asked to join the Dusker trip planned for the Horsebow Moon. I know Father was rather concerned about such a possibility last we met, but hardly trained enough, so... Oh, so in the worst case scenario, it could be his human shield. When I joked about such a thing, His Highness said he didn't find that funny. Maybe in a break between discussions in Dusker, I could plan to return to the castle. I want to see how far... Oh, this is from Rodrigue. I want to see how far... So... An old letter. So this must be Rodrigue writing back to his parents in Fraldaria's territory after he's inherited the mantle. If he ever hopes to best me, let alone His Highness, he'll have to start training by dragging boulders up a mountain. P.S. Wait, it's not? Rodrigue? Then, this must be ancient history. The other day I received a very nice dagger from Blank. Sent it to Galatea with the letter. If she ever comes to Fraldarius, let her know how much I miss... Oh wait, Glenn! Right, because Glenn's name has two N's at the end. This is a letter from Glenn, isn't it? Because it's His Highness, not His Majesty. All right, it's Glenn. It's Glenn. Writing is smeared in places, probably from tears. Or from age. It is quite fortunate we were able to convince Gerald's mercenaries to join our cause.
Indeed.
Indeed. I have no doubt they will play a key role in recapturing Garreg Mach, though it pains me to send them into battle when they wish to avoid the church. Fodlan's fate hangs in the balance. We have no choice but to rely on their strength. Yes, we must join forces now, and end this conflict as swiftly as we... Well, I cannot do English today. We must join forces now, and end this conflict as swiftly as possible. Alrighty then. Wait, there's someone over by the gatekeeper I missed, looking at the map? Whoops. Yeah, well, I'll double back later.
Please, listen.
While you were fighting in the west, we've been shuttling between the eastern and western fronts providing support. The eastern front had their share of struggles as well. The Alliance's meager forces were up against the Minister of Military Affairs' army after all. Though the enemy was superior in number and more experienced, the Alliance was able to stave off the onslaught through a deft deployment of strategies. Yeah, that is Claude. That's how they would be able to stay alive. Hello. I don't think I've seen that pose for me before. Interesting.
Hey!
You look puzzled. Is something wrong?
No.
I just feel strange. Everyone's been much more welcoming than I thought they'd be. No one's all that terrified of me. I mean, when you look like that, it's hard to be terrified. The only reason they would be is because of your battle prowess, and the reputation that garners. Garreg Mach lies before us at last, the final piece of our strategy. The enemy could be lurking anywhere, though, so we need to keep our wits about us. Aillel's harsh environment and unusual terrain makes it unsuitable for large armies. But it's the perfect place for guerrilla tactics. The enemy's not the only one who will be taking advantage of that. Indeed.
Hunger is the truth.
Actually, I'll deal with that on my own time. Because, actually, how do I want to break this up? Hard to tell. How long did I need to be away? A decent chunk of time. That's... yeah, we'll see.
That's not good.
There haven't been any sightings of Ferdy or Hubie in months. I hope they've been merely stripped of their station and not something worse. I know there are enemies, but I wonder if we'll see them at Garreg Mach. That is a question. I heard they're basically not involved in this route. Well, at this point on. Unfortunately, if they haven't been seen in months, they're probably either dead or captured.
Oh, hi!
We're gonna take back the monastery next, aren't we? It's been ages. I miss the Officers' Academy. I was never good at book learning, but it was fun hanging out with everyone from our classes. What do you remember most?
Yeah.
Probably the mock battle, but I wouldn't say it's exactly a good memory. Oh yeah, you got yourself into a real mess back there. We had a great party afterwards, though. I wonder what's going on at the monastery right now. Is anyone from the old days still there? Unlikely, given the circumstances. Very unlikely. I'd hoped for a swift return to my unit, but now that we've come so far together,
Essentially.
I must admit I've grown very fond of the people in this army. I used to feel such animosity towards Fargus, and now I actually want them to win. I can't believe it. Well, there's a lot of disbelief going around.
Well,
What Mercedes said about the Death Knight has been bothering me. I also talked with some people in the Alliance army, and they haven't seen him either. A monster like him can't live without fighting, so it's hard to believe he's just gone.
What do you think?
Maybe he left the military. Life pulls you in all sorts of directions, you know? You really think he'd do that? Doesn't sound likely to me. Still, it's all fine with me if it means we don't have to face him again. Yeah, that is one enemy we could live without.
Listen, we must speak.
I have returned to Aillel. Last time I was defeated and surrendered. At that time I was chasing the Archbishop. She is here now also. Is this what is called fate?
That reminds
Yeah,
me.
definitely seems like a twist of fate. But this time you're fighting on the same side.
Ah,
Yes, we were enemies then. Now we are allies. We will not be losing. It feels like a bad omen for battle. Perhaps that is why my heart is racing. Well, I mean, this is a very pivotal moment, so it's not as without reason that everybody would be nervous as hell. Not without reason indeed. Carrick mocks Snapdag in the middle of Fodland, right? I know it's got historical significance, but is it really worth sacrificing so many lives over?
Let's
Alright,
see.
so we've heard this before. Took me a bit for it to register, but either way. Alright, so I think before anything else, I'm gonna run through... I don't know how I'm gonna break this up, but what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna run through the training field, cooking place, and all the rest. And we'll see if there's anything interesting there, if I can come up with any interesting conversations. Actually, you know what? We'll check right now. Who do Byleth and Geralt have conversations with in this route? Alright, so Geralt doesn't have anyone special. Byleth doesn't have anyone special. Alright then, I guess I just have to see to this. Although they keep planting flags that the Death Knight's gonna show up, so lucky us.
Training can be the difference between victory and
Alright, so
defeat.
what do I have left in terms of supports? I'm pretty sure there's only 3 left, right? At least 3 that I have unlocked. Let me check. Where's my checklist? Okay, it's Shaz, Catherine, Dimitri, Yuri, and then Yuri plus Seta. Okay, I'll see if I can unlock those before we go headlong into insanity. Alrighty, so before we get to the next main story battle, we've got a couple things to see to. One of those is support conversations, and it looks like the ones surrounding Rodrigue have also opened up, so I'm pretty sure this is all I have to worry about. Yep, alrighty, let's go ahead and see to them. I guess we'll just start by going down the line with Shez.
Hey, Rodrigue. Looking for something specific?
I am. It's a book called Keyhole's General Treatise on Mercenaries. I was hoping to brush up a bit.
Sounds familiar. Pretty sure I skimmed through it back at the academy. Are you gonna use it for the next campaign or something?
Well, perhaps.
Rodrigue? Is everything okay? You're not really the kind of guy to skirt around answers like that.
If I may. Do you remember when we faced Gerald and his mercenaries in battle?
How could I forget? Things got pretty intense out there.
Indeed they did. And that battle is the reason they opted to join our cause. One mistake is all it would have taken for us to suffer a crushing defeat. Thankfully, we managed to seize the initiative ourselves and emerge victorious.
Where are you going with this?
Had we not, our main camp would surely have fallen. I expect I too would have lost my life in the fray.
If only you knew.
Yeah, it felt like there was danger lurking around every corner. Almost like I was walking on thin ice, never sure when it was gonna crack beneath me.
It frustrated me to no end, both as a warrior and a commander. To see such foresight, such clever strategies emerging from the other side.
Oh, you feel that you feel that you're lacking in some way? You were caught off guard by just how effective Gerald's mercenaries were? I mean, you don't know this, but you can hardly blame yourself for being, well, almost being made mincemeat of when Gerald is literally centuries old.
Without the wisdom of our predecessors, I would never have been able to assess the situation. Hence why I again find myself here seeking knowledge.
You never fail to impress me, Rodrigue. All those years of experience, and you still have the drive to sit down and study tactics in your time off.
I merely despise the idea of defeat, nothing more. I lack the cunning of the Margrave.
Really? I'm surprised to hear you describe yourself that way, but then again, well, given Sylvain and Felix's dynamic, I suppose it's something similar between you and the Margrave.
And unlike Lambert, I lack the overwhelming courage necessary to turn the tide of battle on my own. Which is why I must learn as many strategies as I can. It's the only way I can prevail over those both wiser and braver than I.
You know, you've said before that you and Felix don't have a whole lot in common, but I'm not so sure that's true. Neither of you miss a single chance to improve yourselves. Guess the apple really doesn't fall far from the tree. And that goes for Dimitri, Sylvain, and yeah, even Felix. As for you, Rodrigue, I think all that hard-earned knowledge is exactly what makes you the incredible commander you are.
Ha! I'll spare you the humility and just accept the compliment. Thank you.
I bet you could even beat the Margrave or the former king if you took him on now.
I wouldn't be so sure. Both of them were far beyond my reach in their prime. And the Margrave aside, I could never hope to meet Lambert as equals. I'd struggle for an eternity without ever growing close to his might.
I guess you can't exactly catch up to someone when they're gone.
Perhaps not. But that's exactly why we must continue learning. To never stop reaching for those who seem beyond our grasp.
Gotcha. Then I'm just gonna have to follow in your footsteps. I'll catch up to you before you know it, Rodrigue. Just don't go dying on me before I get the chance.
Is that so? Then I suppose I'll have to work even harder to give you a proper challenge.
Oh yeah, you were looking for Keyhole's treatise, right? Let me go ask if anyone knows where it is.
Oh. Will I really make it home next winter?
I don't see why not. What, do you feel that you're getting too old or something? Actually, that's probably exactly it. Hard to know for certain. Alright, so we've seen the one with Geralt and Golden Wildfire, so we don't have to watch that one. Let's just skip over to Catherine.
Oh, hey. On your way back from training? It's admirable of you to keep at it so late.
Yeah, well, I like to get in a little bit of practice whenever I can. Can't afford to fall behind with everyone else getting so strong on the battlefield.
It's a little late for me today, but I could join you tomorrow. If that's okay, of course.
Really? That'd be great.
A desire to get stronger is not a bad thing in my book. While we're on the subject, can I ask you something? Why do you want to get stronger? No, wait. Let me start with a different question. What made you originally decide to become a mercenary?
It's not really much of a story. This is kinda just where I ended up. After my mom died, I left the village we'd been living in, but I had no idea what I was gonna do. I eventually ran out of money and fell in with a mercenary group. Then I worked my way up from doing their laundry to fighting.
Huh. Having to start from the very bottom then. Well, admirable. Very admirable.
You don't say. Well, I guess your story is a pretty common one, actually. How'd mercenary life treat you?
Awful at first, but once I met some folks that I got along with, it wasn't so bad. Anyway, the plan was to keep fighting alongside my friends, make a name for myself as a merc, and eventually run out of luck and die. But somehow, I've suddenly found myself in charge of the king's private army, leading soldiers into battle. Not really what I expected, I'll tell you that much.
That's how life is. You never know what tomorrow will bring. When I was a kid, I never imagined I'd be wielding some holy relic as a Knight of Seros. I thought my destiny was to follow in my father's footsteps and become the next Count Karen.
It seems like you've been through a lot. I heard you were a fugitive at one point.
Yes, well, something happened. My best friend lost his way, and I couldn't set him right. Eventually, it cost him his life, and I let it happen. I couldn't stay in my hometown after something like that.
No, I suppose not.
But despite all that pain and sadness, I have no regrets about the choices I've made in my life.
Now that I think of it, why haven't we seen or heard much from Count Karen? I mean, it's his lands that would be most affected by the war, or at least just as much as anyone else's. Although I guess Count Rowe would technically be on the front, but you get my point.
Not many can say that. So, you've succeeded in making your past self proud, huh?
That's right. My past has made me who I am today. I'm going to keep moving forward, no matter what hardships lie ahead.
You're a strong person, Catherine. I think I could learn a lot from you. Hearing your story and what you said about making yourself proud gives me so much to think about. No matter how hard we try, there will always be times when we have to make tough choices, right? My past self fought hard to get me here. am I gonna make the choice that past me would have approved of?
The tough part isn't making the right choice, though. It's what you do after. You must try your best to make whatever decision you land on into the right one in the end.
An expected perspective from you, but still an interesting one.
You make it sound so easy, but the more I think about it, the harder it seems.
Just a bit.
Then don't think about it. Just keep trying your best day after day. Put one foot in front of the other, and eventually, you'll look back and realize how far you've come.
That's all I've gotta do, huh?
That's all. You could even start right now. If anything I said struck a chord, that is. I, for one, look forward to seeing you carve your own path, wherever it may lead.
Alrighty then. Not a bad conversation. Alright, let me get... Actually, no, I'll get rid of the Geralt one later. Let's see, so I think the last one for Dimitri is just with Yuri, right? Yep, everything else has been seen too. Alrighty. We are coming up on the end game.
You seem to be staring at me, Yuri. What's wrong?
Just thinking how odd it is that you've grown so accustomed to a town like this.
Well, I like this place, and its people. There may be a few vagabonds in the darker alleys. That just shows how accepting everyone is. They all greet me with smiles, despite my being a complete stranger to them.
Oh, they'd change their tune pretty quickly if they knew you were the king. Anyway, have you enjoyed your little tour of this garbage heap? Did you get a good look at the town through my eyes or whatever it is you wanted?
Yes. And it's also got me thinking about how best to help those of more meager standing. Originally, I thought that establishing medical facilities or investing in the church were the best pathways to this cause. But after seeing the people here, I realized they are not indigents standing around with open hands awaiting salvation.
I'd love to unpack your definition of indigent, but yes, they certainly don't take things lying down.
Maybe it's idealistic, but I think regents should rule in a way that not just nobles, but everyone can see as reasonable. But to accomplish that, a ruler must take the opportunity to truly listen to the people. Of course, I can't go around visiting every burg and hamlet personally. I realize this, but I still feel this is the key to true reform.
Well, good on you if you actually manage to accomplish that. But it isn't going to be easy.
Of course, you try and bring down the mood.
First, you have to give the poor a minimum level of education. Of course, they're already fully capable of telling you when they're hungry or if taxes are too high. But they'll need education to understand the policies and laws established by their lords and hold any kind of thoughtful opinion on them.
Education, you say? Yes, that makes a great deal of sense.
Problem is, people aren't in the mood to learn anything when they don't know where their next meal is coming from or where they'll sleep that night.
Right. Improving quality of life is first and foremost. Education can be built upon that. Sadly, none of this will be cheap. And the current war is doing a fine job of draining our coffers.
I can imagine.
Which means I need to end it as soon as possible.
So the main problem comes down to money, huh? In that case, why not make use of us? If you need funds, I can introduce you to a wealthy merchant or three. And if you need to get some dirty work done, I can lend you a few of my men. All we need in exchange is for you to provide us a little bit of support.
Oh, I see the angle now.
I'll not permit you to work evil in my name. And besides which, tales of how you and your band have eaten lords out of house and home are legend.
But you're a different matter entirely, Your Majesty. If we join forces, my dream is sure to be realized. I swear to never allow you to fall victim to any vile practices. You have my honest word on that.
Can you be trusted, though?
And what is this dream of yours?
I'll tell you about it in due time. But for now, Your Majesty, do you accept my proposal?
I feel like you should tell him before he accepts anything.
I will consider it. After spending time together, I've come to want to trust you.
Should you, though?
I promise it'll be the best decision you ever make.
Is it,
But
though?
until then,
Whoops. Await your reply, huh? So that was the word I missed? Sorry, I'm getting distracted by something else. Let me minimize this. Get that out of here. Okay, and then a couple down here. Let's see to the main team first. Wonder what you two have to say to each other now.
Sit down, Felix.
Can we make this quick? I'm busy.
For once, would you please just... No, not today. The truth is, I think it's time we sat down and talked. Neither of us know which day could be our last, so we should both ensure there's no lingering regret when the time comes.
Well, this is off to a grim start. So, what is it you want to talk about?
I wanted to apologize for what I said about Glenn. It was ill put, and I'm sorry. I should never have said such a thing in your presence.
If you're going to explain yourself, I suppose I can make the time to hear you out.
Thank you. Then I will not mince words. I too was mortified by Glenn's death. Yet he perished a hero. He chose that life for himself, and he chose that death. He fought to protect the future of Fargus and his friend, until his dying breath. As his father, I felt I had to acknowledge that choice.
And how are you so sure it was his choice? Neither of us really knows what he was thinking. The boar might have an inkling, but all he goes on about is how he caused Glenn's death.
You're right. I don't know for certain.
Yeah, and based on what Dimitri said, I suspect that Rodrigue's reading might not be correct anyway.
But I know what I would have done had I been there. And you, Felix? What would your choice have been? Would you have abandoned His Majesty to save yourself? Or would you have chosen to fight until death claimed you? I myself would have safeguarded His Majesty at all costs. I know that it wasn't in Glenn's nature to flee either.
It's always about courage or cowardice with you. I wouldn't have chosen anything.
Then what would you have done?
When your life's on the line, you don't have time to think about that stuff. Only act. I would have fought with my own will, in whatever way I thought best. And I would have made sure we both survived.
You always want to have it both ways. Still, I take pride in that determination of yours. Had I been there, I doubt I could have summoned the resolve to strive for such a victory. More likely, I would have been satisfied merely to die in the defense of my liege.
I can understand that way of thinking. In fact, I always have. But I still couldn't stomach Glenn's death being glorified.
And I'm sorry for that, Felix. Truly.
It's all right. And I'm glad we talked. Also, you said we shouldn't leave regrets behind, so... I'm sorry, too. For hitting you back then, I mean. I'm sorry, Father.
You know, I'd almost forgotten about that. It hurt, too. More than any blow I've received in battle.
Probably because of where it was coming from more so than the strike itself.
Oh, shut up. I said I was sorry. Now, if we're done here, I'm leaving.
Alrighty then, so pretty much a confirmation of what a lot of people have suspected about Felix's character, that he does feel a certain sense of duty, but at the same time, well, he's not necessarily good about expressing it. Then again, when is he ever good at expressing things? That isn't a matter of just going, why are you like this? Either way, so what do you two have to talk about? So last time it was about Yuri looking into how he got his crest.
I really thought that was it for me. I can't believe I fell for that trap behind enemy lines.
It was certainly an uncharacteristic blunder. However, you have returned safely, with your life intact.
I can hardly believe it. Part of me keeps wondering if I'm really still alive. I've had my share of brushes with death, but that was definitely the second worst.
Oh? What was the first?
An illness swept through my village when I was really young. We didn't have access to a doctor, or the money to pay one.
Ah, the plague that ravaged Fargus. At the time, the entire kingdom was struggling mightily to contain it. Or so I have heard.
Wait, I thought you said that you were born in the Empire. You were born in Fargus? Unless that's a cover... No, it would have to be... Okay, I need to check my notes. Where are you born? I'm gonna have to go through your supports to make sure that that all lines up. Something doesn't... I thought you were in the Empire, but if you were in the Kingdom, yeah, that would make the most... I'm gonna have to look that up.
Its foul clutches claimed even the Queen of Fargus herself. It is incredible that you survived without the aid of a physician.
You're telling me? Honestly, if that old man hadn't saved me, I wouldn't be standing here now.
This old man you speak of, was he a doctor?
No, at least I don't think he was. Just some feeble old stranger my mother came across. He could barely even walk on his own. So we took him in, and made sure he was cared for. And I caught the plague. And of course, there was nothing my mother could do about that. That's when the old man saved me. I have no idea what kind of treatment or medicine he used to do it.
Is that so? And where is this elderly gentleman now?
Oh, he passed away a long time ago. I told you. This was back when I was a kid.
I see. Then it is as I thought. Your story reminded me of something, actually.
You think it was the actual Oban? Possibly, but... Unless... Yeah, because it had to have been Oban himself. Hadn't it? Shouldn't it have? Given all that.
One of the 10 elites was originally afflicted with a terminal disease. After receiving their crest, this individual made a full recovery. Or so the story goes. Perhaps it is more fitting to call it a fairy tale.
I'm not sure I completely follow. Are you saying that old man saved my life by giving me the power of a crest?
I am simply saying the possibility exists. Alas, I cannot know for certain.
Hold up. It does actually kind of make sense when I think about it. But if that's true, it would mean that old man was an apostle of the goddess or something. Which means I might live to be ridiculously old, just like the 10 elites, right?
Regrettably, that elderly gentleman has left this world, so none can confirm nor deny that. However, what is certain is that he saved your life. You should treat it with care, whether on the battlefield or elsewhere. After all, we have but one life to live.
Yeah, you're right. Thanks for the advice. I still have plenty of things I have to do before my time is up.
You would do well to head back and get some rest. My apologies for keeping you.
Oh, we don't get to hear
You
said it.
always cursed the blood that flowed through you. But in the end, it saved that child's life.
Huh. So it was Oban. It actually... Huh, wait, but always cursed the blood that flowed through you. So, hang on a minute. If it was an apostle, was it... Were the apostles traitors to Nemesis, then? Were they human, perhaps? Wait, that's the more likely answer, though, because if Sedith is still alive after all this time, but the apostle wasn't, it's more likely that the apostles were humans that had been granted the power by the Agarthans, perhaps. Huh, that would make the most sense in that case, and so perhaps that's why they Unless it was Rhea who gave them the power somehow by... But Rhea could only give the crest of Seros, presumably. That's how the Imperial family has it. Huh. I'm not sure what to make of that.
It brings me great relief to know that you found salvation in your last moments. Oban, my friend. Be at peace.
It was Oban. Utterly fascinating. I'm gonna have a lot to dig through as far as the world building is concerned then. Alright, so give me a second to just get rid of this so I don't have to see the new support info bit
Marianne, you...
for the entirety of this. I'm glad I can skip over these. Is that the only one? Oh yeah, I gotta skip over this one too. Well, two more. And then we can see to the next thing on the chopping block, because when I went to open up stuff as far as... There it is. When I went to go open up the battle map to see what we were up against and what the result could be, well, what the rewards were and whatnot, I found that there's a paralog in play. So, let's go ahead and fight it out.